Hello, Facebook Ads people. I'm Konstantinos, and this is the Facebook Ads Breaking News Podcast. Hello, guys. I don't know if you missed me, but I must say that I didn't miss you because I was answering all of your comments. The only thing that I missed is the studio, and doing videos again. So today we're going to start with a podcast, which is, I gathered all of your questions, things that happened during the vacation, and things that I want to discuss in general. I don't know how long it's going to be. If it's going to be too big, maybe I'm going to make part A and part B, and I'm going to upload it in 2 weeks instead of one. So let's start. I have many of your questions, but first of all, we are a podcast. If you are not a podcast, if you're not going to comment on what happened between Zuckerberg and Elon Musk and all of these things that happened during August. So because we respect ourselves, we're going to discuss about it. And let's talk a little bit about it. First of all, we have a tweet from Zuckerberg here saying, I think we can all agree Elon isn't serious and it's time to move on. I offered a real date. Dana White offered to make this a legit competition for charity. Elon won't confirm a date, then says he needs surgery and now asks to do a practice round in my backyard instead. If Elon ever gets serious about a real date and official event, he knows how to reach me. Otherwise, time to move on. I'm going to focus on competing with people who take the sport seriously. Obviously, we're talking about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fight between Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg. It would be so nice. Most probably, if it was going to happen in Italy, I would book a ticket also to go there to see it live, if that would be possible. But stupidly enough, I can say that I would pay a lot of money to see that. It would be amazing. We are transitioning into an era that all of these influencers and stuff, I hope that in 5 or 10 years from now, I won't have to go inside a cage with someone else doing Facebook ads just to solve our differences about the disagreements that we have about the algorithm or so. I think it's transitioning to that everybody is doing MMA fights right now. I have seen people that I never believed that they will doing it and so on. Elon Musk said in one fight recap, I joked on X about fighting Zook. Zook then said, send me location. Italy graciously offered the Colosseum. Zach declined. I suggested his home as safe space. Tragically, he was ahem traveling. Is there anywhere we will fight? And to be honest with you, I will take the side of Zuckerberg here because he's trained in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, not in a master level, but he is doing trainings every day. And Elon doesn't do any of that. So I think that he would be able to kick his ass. On the other hand, I wouldn't be opposed of Elon being able to hit him in the face at least one or twice. That would be amazing. The amount of memes that we could create for our videos, it would be amazing with all of these punches and stuff. It would be amazing. It would be only content. But it's not going to happen, sadly. So my idea was that I would see Mark trying to defend while the bigger body Elon Musk would go and would try to punch him, maybe land 1 or 2 punches, and then Mark will take him to the ground and it's going to dominate him. This is what I would anticipate, and I would love to see Elon punching Zuckerberg in the face. But anyway, it's a history. It's not going to happen, so there's no point of discussing it. A lot of drama for nothing, if you ask me. But let's see. Maybe we have something in the future with this. Now, to the more serious stuff, and let's start talking about ad accounts and then answering questions. A lot of questions. I have a lot of videos coming right now. I will produce some case studies, 1-year case studies of some ad accounts. And while I'm answering some questions, I will say if there is something which is coming in the future that's going to explain it better. If not, I'm going to refer to old videos and of course answer everything here. Um, One thing before we go to the questions, you know that I have a lot of videos talking about shop ads. Shop ads are now available only in United States. I didn't know that, I must admit it, because somebody asked me about Canada, and I told him that he should be able to see it or do a commerce manager, but it's not that. It's that it's not available. In Greece, for example, they have removed them. The thing is that I really like them because in the other accounts that I'm using them, I'm having much better results because they're combining the sales of the Meta platform plus the sales of the website. So it's looking much better for me. Plus the incentives that Facebook is giving for people buying from the store, and they give 20% discounts, refunding the 20% to the owners within Shopify and so on. Of course, it has some cost for the owners because the transaction fees were a little bit high, but I think that they were fixing that. Anyway, it's happening only in the United States, but it's super effective. One thing though, that for all of you that you're from United States, which I want you to look, is this. When you are doing your shop ads, you have your link to your website, but after that there's a window below which is saying the destination for the shop. So if you're sending someone to this t-shirt, for example, into your site, then in the shop inside Facebook, you need to send them also here, and so on. One thing that I didn't know is that when this item goes out of stock, then Facebook goes and turns off your ads. So I had one product in one ad account selling very well, having very good sales, and immediately after it went out of stock, then the campaign started dying. So I was saying what happened, and then I saw that the ads were closed by Meta because this item was out of stock. So you have two options about that. If you know that an item is not going to have a lot of stock, what you can do is you can send them to a collection page instead, which is having this item first. For example, bestsellers. It's having this item first, but it's having also other items so that your ads are not going to be closed, because a lot of times we're seeing that there are campaigns, for example, that they're selling an item, this item goes out of stock, but the sales continue coming because this item is just such a strong item that it's a good initiation for people to enter within the website. So even if people are saying, okay, I like this product, if they come, it's out of stock, and then they buy something else, that's still totally fine and it can hold the campaign. So instead of losing a campaign because it went out of stock, you can keep it even if you're running shop ads by just running it to a collection page, which is going to be with the bestsellers or new arrivals or whatever you may choose that to be. That being said, this is what I want to say about the shop ads, and I think that if you are in the United States, you should definitely try them, and they are going to be good. Two more things before we go to the questions. I do know that there is a new thing, Advantage Plus. It's called Advantage Plus Targeting, and you have seen it in many accounts. I'm going to do a separate video about that. I don't think it's a huge change, so you know if you use the one or the other option. I have tested it, I haven't seen big differences, so I'm just mentioning it, but I'm going to do a whole video about it. Last thing that I want to say, we had Shopify audiences. Sorry if I'm a little bit slow, but you have to understand that I haven't done any video for a long time, so I'm a little bit unused to it. Last thing, before we go to the questions, is that we have Shopify audiences. Shopify audiences are audiences that Shopify is creating. If you have Shopify Plus, you have access to them. And basically what is happening is that they say, okay, you're selling t-shirts. We have the data from a lot of other people having stores within Shopify selling t-shirts. So we can create an audience which is going to be similar to what you are selling so that you can add it to Facebook and advertise to them. They are not working at all. Okay, so I've tried them in several accounts, and I've tried them also in very strong ad accounts that even if you do broad targeting with just the catalog, it's working. So I can tell you that Shopify audiences are not working at all, and I'm super negative about them because it's completely different from saying, okay, it's not working in another account, it's not good. But when you see them not working in very, very, very good ad accounts, then it's a problem, you know, that's not going to work anywhere. So for me, even if I have seen some posts saying how good the Shopify audiences are, I can tell you that I have tried them and they didn't work well at all. Now, Let's go to questions one by one. Let's try to see how fast we can get up. I think it's more than 60 or something like that, or more than 50. First question. We have here a question says, I was showing another account with 5 ROAS, and there's a comment over here says, I bet your ads manager is over-reporting by a lot. Guys, don't be toxic because you cannot have 5 ROAS into your ad account. First of all, I'm not the kind of person who is saying that I'm having 5 ROAS or 6 ROAS in all of my ad accounts. Okay, so I'm not flexing in a way to deserve that. Okay, secondly, if you're not having this kind of results, maybe it's not your fault. It doesn't mean that everybody needs to have 5 ROAS. This was another account with $1,000 average order value, and even because I know that some people might, and the other reason that I do it is because I don't want someone to come and work with me because they believe that they can have 5 ROAS while they have 2 ROAS. Okay, so I'm mentioning to all of my videos, this is another account which is having an average order value of $1,000, blah blah, interior space and so on. So it's completely different when somebody is actually not flexing, but he's actually saying the truth. Also, I told you that the break-even ROAS over here is 4. Why don't you see that? Okay, you just see 5 ROAS and you compare it with your own ad account that you're getting 2 ROAS, for example, and you say that it's over-reporting because nobody's getting 5 ROAS. There are other accounts that are getting 30 ROAS. 50 ROAS. They are selling much more expensive items. It doesn't mean the things that you need to watch is what is the break-even return on ad spend and how much you are getting and how much you are scaling. Because if you are getting, for example, 4 ROAS, your break-even ROAS is 4 and you are spending $1,000 per month, that's a problem. If you are spending 500K per month and your break-even ROAS is 4 and you are getting 4 ROAS with that spend, then it's totally fine, in my opinion, and in opinion of several e-commerce owners that I know. So it's completely different in a way that you're looking what kind of ROAS you want to have in any other account and so on. So don't be toxic. Just see how you can improve it in yourself, and don't just blaming the over-reporting or stuff like that. As I told you, there are other ad accounts that they have 30 ROAS, but I'm not showing them for this kind of reason. Okay, if somebody is selling, for example, something that has average order value of $5,000, you cannot just come and say that, hey guys, I'm getting 30 ROAS in the ad account by just spending $10,000. So what? Okay, it doesn't make any sense to show this kind of stuff. Anyway, here we're talking about several sales. We're talking about you are going to see the case study of this one. I'm going to make 1 year case study, how I reached them from spending 20K to actually now spending 200K in United States and 200K, around 200K in United Kingdom, and I'm expanding also to Canada, and I'm expanding also to New Zealand and Australia right now with other accounts. So I'm going to show you the journey, I'm going to show you the ROAS and how I scaled and what I did. All the things that I'm showing you in this channel is what I did, but Anyway, that's the first thing that I want to start with because it wasn't so technical. Let's go to the next one. This is an Upwork job post. We need someone to fix our Facebook campaign for our e-commerce store. We need an experienced Facebook campaign manager who knows how to run and set Facebook campaigns. We have an issues with our current campaign which doesn't attract any new customers. So I don't know why I put that there. These are things that I saved also during vacation, so I don't remember why I did. Most probably the thing that I'm saying here is that it doesn't attract any new customers. So how do you define success? Do you define success by watching if a campaign is getting sales from new customers only, or if it's getting mixed sales, or if it's getting sales from old and new customers, or just old customers, I guess. Maybe the reason that I put it here is because, first of all, if you have a campaign, nobody can come there and just fix it. Okay, he has to start new campaigns, test new things and stuff. It's not like you go there and you change a setting and then it's working magically. It's not a car to fix the engine. So first of all, this is the one thing. It's a wrong mentality to believe that you have a campaign and somebody can come and fix it for you. Secondly, doesn't attract new customers. It's a little bit of alarming in sense of okay, you cannot have only new customers from Facebook. Facebook is going to steal some of the sales of the old customers if we consider that stealing. But this is good because it's going to help you get new customers eventually by just getting the data of the old. Anyway, let's keep in mind here that if one campaign is not working, it's better to do something else instead of trying to fix this one that doesn't work. Unless if it was working in the past and you just give it some time, or in my opinion, if it's working in the past, you can just relaunch it by duplicating it and it's going to start working again. Let's go to the next one. This is Paolo. Hello guys, I've launched a campaign for an e-com product, Advantage Plus, with 2 ads. Okay, I find it a little bit low for Advantage Plus. I don't like you to do campaigns with just 2 ads. The day before yesterday, I spent $200 in that campaign and was doing a conversion for every $20 I spent. I have $28 of commission for a sale. Yesterday, the same campaign got a deep dive into stats and made conversions every $30 spent, so slight in a loss. Today, I spent $50 so far. No sales and CPC to the moon. CPM is 22, geolocation is USA, but CTR is 1.3. What's happening? What do you think I should do? Can it be 2 bad days, or do I need to change my strategy? PS, thank you, Konstantinos. Konstantinos, I would like some video on your course about fresh starts with new pixels. There are, in the course we have videos with that. Now, first of all, we have the effect over here, which is super typical with newer accounts, especially and new pixels, that we're getting very good results in the first 24, 48 hours. And then what happens is that the results are dipping and we're not having good results. Why is this happening? We have explained it several times, but let me explain again. In the first 24, 48 hours, you are just, by the way, you can pause the video and you can answer and see if our answers are going to be the same. Let's make this interactive, okay? So the thing is this. In the first 24, 48 hours, Facebook, because we're optimizing for a purchase, is going to give us the best leads or leads, as people, so that they can convert, the low-hanging fruits, as we call them, in order for us to convert and continue having sales so that it can optimize. Facebook is working in a way that is getting one sale, it's Konstantinos, then it's getting another sale based on Konstantinos and the other person and so on. So if we don't have any data, how are we going to optimize to get more sales and more sales? So it makes sense that in the first 24, 48 hours, Facebook is boosting a little bit so that we can get some sales and we can start our campaign. If our pixel is not strong enough to continue having these good results after that, this is a problem. Also, we have the randomness of the initial results. This is why I have created the crazy method, because you might get a sale, which is going to be a person that Facebook sees as a low-hanging fruit, but it's not the ideal avatar client for you that is going to help you get more people based on the statistics that this person has. For example, let's say that, okay, I have one example. Let's say that I have no children, okay, but I have a niece. So let's say that I'm buying a dress for my niece, but Facebook wants to try to advertise to people that they have kids so that they can buy clothes. I'm just a bad low-hanging fruit that I was there by mistake, I converted and I bought one dress for my niece, but I'm not going to buy more, or I'm not the ideal avatar client because I don't have any kids. So it's going to target people without kids after me, and it's not going to continue. So it's about being lucky also on your initial sales. This is why we're using the crazy method and other things, because I believe that the randomness of the initial results, especially if you don't have a good pixel, because if you have a good pixel, you're going to get the push from Facebook, but we are going to get it with the help of the pixel also. If you don't have a good pixel, which is not ready yet, you're just going to get the help of Facebook giving you a sale. So I'm a person that I don't have children. I converted because I wanted to buy something for my niece, which is totally random. I just wanted to buy, no birthday, nothing. And then I'm just creating a hot pocket around me, which is not correct because I'm not a parent, and basically this store needs parents in order to convert to more. So that's just a stupid example which might have happened in reality. And This is how it's working. This is why you're not getting the sales. What can you do? You can do relaunches, especially with Advanced Plus. You don't have the option of actually being able to, close one ad set and stuff because it's just one ad set. It's not like crazy method. But in Advanced Plus, you have the option of running several ads. And I think one of your mistakes over here, my friend Paolo, is that you are running only 2 ads. So you need to put several ads in order for you to be able to close ads that are not doing well and giving the budgets to the ones that they're actually converting, or or not only converting, but they have created a hot pocket which is going to continue converting because it's the ideal avatar and it was a correct lucky sale initially. So don't forget about the randomness of the initial results and how it works, because a lot of times you're going to find yourself watching a campaign working for 1 or 2 days because it's being boosted, which also shows how rigged is the game with Facebook. If Facebook wanted to give me just a lot of sales in my store, it could, okay? But it has to just give all of this wealth to a lot of people so that all of them can advertise. So that's it. I think one crucial mistake here is the 2 ads, okay? I would do more than 10. In your case, even 15. Yeah, easily, okay? So, okay, let's go to the next one. Hi, I love the channel. Thank you very much. Would you recommend changing my Advanced Plus campaign age range to 30-65 plus? Or keep it broad? You cannot change the age on Advanced Plus unless if you have any of the new features that they announced that they're going to roll until the end of the year. We cannot change yet the ages. It has been going well, but I noticed that almost all of my customers are women 30-65 plus. First of all, above anything that Konstantinos is going to say or whoever is going to tell you anything, there is one rule that applies to everything that you do within Facebook ads, and this rule doesn't change to any strategy, to anything else. If something is working, you're not going to touch it. You're not going to change it. There is no such thing as I'm going to make it better. You're going to make it worse. Mathematically, this is for sure. So don't touch things that are working within Facebook. If you want, you can start something else, another campaign, but not an Advanced Plus, obviously, because you cannot touch the range of the ages. And don't forget that the reason that is working right now with 30-65 is because what we said earlier about hot pockets, it optimized in a hot pocket that it's fine, suitable, and it's having sales there. There's no need for you to go change it or make it in another ads because it's already optimized to that. It doesn't need any more guidance. In any future ads, just observing that and saying, okay, I'm going to run a crazy method CBO and I'm going to have this age, it's totally fine. I'm not against that, okay? But touching things that are working, I think you should not, because you are going to regret it. I have a comment, I believe, later from a person talking about how he touched his ads and ruined everything, which was months of ads performing well. Now, let's go to the next one. I think I replied to him and he said, thank you so much. I tried out Advanced Plus after I discovered your channel this weekend and so happy that I did. I got better ROAS now. It's been running since Friday and generated me sales every day except today though. Is that okay? It is okay to have one bad day. Also, something else that I want to say about Paolo, if we can bring again this comment here. It says, I have spent this the first day, the second day. Today, I spent 50 so far with no sales. I don't want to see anyone anymore in this channel criticizing a day without closing 24 hours. I don't care if you go in the evening and you watch the ads and they don't have any sale yet. I have seen other accounts having sales in the last 2 or 3 hours of the day. So don't criticize something based, okay, you can take an idea and I also do it, but I do it as a gossip. I don't do it so that I can panic and I can take decisions. I know that I will have to take difficult decisions the next day, but I'm not going to take any decisions on that day during the half of the day based on the spend that I had so far. That being said, here we have, I got better ROAS, it's been running since Friday and so on. Is that okay? How many zero sale days until you decide it's time to turn off the campaign? I would say in 2 days with 0 sales, you will have to close the campaign. My pixel is also pretty new. Started running ads last month only. Thanks again for the great content. It's amazing that Advanced Plus is working for you with a new Pixel. Imagine what is going to happen later if your Pixel gets much better data. That would be amazing. Watch the videos about Advanced Plus, about optimization, and I think that you will be fine. But don't forget that you are very lucky that right now Advanced Plus is working for you with a new Pixel because it's broad targeting after all, okay? Next one. Hello, what a great content. Thank you very much. It will look like all of these comments are staged. Anyway, I am but I put a negative one at the start. You see, so I'm subjective actually. I'm a little bit confused. Are you using different creative for the same product in Advanced Plus, or you are using different creatives of different products in the same Advanced Plus? Look, you can do the both, okay? You can do both. What you can do is that you can use there are several uses of Advanced Plus. Advanced Plus can be used for scaling. First of all, it's a campaign which you can put several creatives for one product that you know that is working, and you're just putting a big budget. It's much more difficult to have a big budget CBO with several assets instead of having one Advanced Plus. On the other hand, you can do only 8 Advanced Plus per ad account. Secondly, you can use it in order to try different landing pages. For example, you can have the same creative that you know that is working and then different landing pages. You can use it in order to target and in order to try to market different products. You can use it in order to try to see different creatives for a product. You can use it in order to test other copy and stuff. What I want you to understand from this is that whenever you do a test, I want you to just put something that is working and something that you want to test. For example, you know that the creative is working and you want to test a copy. So you do several ads with the same creative that you know that is working, and you test the different copies to see which copy is creating. Don't just put all of them together and just test them, unless if you're starting right now and you have to start from somewhere, so you have to toss everything inside and see what is going to work and what doesn't. Let's go to next one is Federico. Hello guys, I would like to test some videos and photos to see which one perform best. I also understood in a dynamic creative it's better to use only one type of media. My idea is to use one CBO campaign broad with 2 ad set, one with video and another one with photos. Does it make sense, or do I need to use different campaigns? I really love how people come up with the most strange ideas. So for example, why you have to group together in a CBO one ad set with videos and one ad set with images? Why don't you do just 2 different campaigns? I'm just saying. I'm just trying to understand how. From where is that coming from? Okay, why? Just because you're bored to do another campaign? Is it because of boring? It could be a valid reason, but I would like to know why. So I will tell you why you should not do it, but I just don't understand why your mind doesn't go to the fact that, okay, it's 2 different things. I'm going to do 2 different campaigns. Okay, so just to be sure, even if you don't know, just to be sure, you would do 2 different campaigns and you will be 100% sure that what you're doing is correct. First of all, you can do Advanced Plus to test, as we said earlier, but you can do also CBO with dynamic creative ads. Now, it's not okay. By the way, technically, you said that you're going to use one ad set with videos and one with images. I know Federico. I have talked with Federico several times. Most probably he already knows that. He just wants to see if it's correct or not. I wouldn't interfere in any campaign that has from one side videos and from one side images. Okay, you haven't done the most crucial mistake, which is to group them together in the same ad set, which is going to bring a lot of conflicts. But you are still using a CBO campaign with 2 different ad sets that they are going to have different metrics in terms of engagement. Why is this important? And this is the reason that we also don't mix them together in dynamic creative ads or even in Advanced Plus. Initially, as we discussed about hot pockets, what is happening is that Facebook is going to see if an ad is having a good engagement or bad engagement in order to decide if it's going to spend more money to it. The whole Facebook is a community, okay? And inside there, we have some ads which are good, some ads which are bad, and Facebook wants to push only the content that considers good. So initially, the first thing that Facebook watches in a CBO campaign or in an advanced plus is if this ad that is serving is getting in this example, for example, it's going to see the combination of dynamic creative ads of videos or images and see which one is getting the best engagement. Is it getting the image 1, the copy 2, the headline 3, they're getting very good engagement as a thing. Okay, this ad is getting more spent in order to see if this engagement can actually translate to sales. And it goes like this. So, how do we define the engagement from videos and from images? For videos, even when you scroll down in your feed, the first 3 seconds, if somebody watches 3 seconds of a video, which autoplays also, you don't have to click it, most of the times it autoplays, 3 seconds are considered engagement. But in the image, it's much more difficult to have engagement. So you're comparing pears with apples. It's completely different, okay? So you should not group them together in a campaign that has completely different rules, because what I'm guessing here is that the videos ad set is going to get much more spent. But is it the truth? Is it the true winner? Because it starts with engagement, but it doesn't compete with another ad set with videos. It competes with images, which are getting much more difficult the engagement. Because you have to click, you have to watch them, you have to share them, you have to like them. It's not something which goes in autoplay. So that being said, that's the reason that I wouldn't group them together, and I think that you should not, and you should do just 2 different campaigns. Next one. How long does it take to test a single product ad before it goes live with a high budget? What percentage of your budget do you use for testing? 0. I use 0% for testing. Why? Because I'm testing while I'm having sales immediately. Now we have the tools. Back in the day, we had ABO, so you had to test. Okay? Now you have CBO and you have Advantage Plus also. In CBO, you can just have dynamic creative ads, and while you are having sales, you can actually go and you can test the creatives that are working. The same thing goes to Advanced Plus. While you are having sales, you can test which creatives and products or whatever that may be, they're working. Because it doesn't make any sense if you do ABO campaigns, for example, you spend $10, $20 to see if something is working and has sales, if it doesn't work in bigger numbers. And CBO and Advantage Plus are going to show you that, because if you have a dominant ad within Advantage Plus, or you have an ad set which is working very well inside a CBO campaign, not with a predefined budget, but with the budget that Facebook is giving it from the CBO campaign, then you know that these are things that you can just scale. With ABO, you don't know that. You just spend $10, you have some good results, but you don't know if it's going to be able to be successful in a CBO campaign or in advanced campaigns. A lot of times it's going to be, but it's not the correct way. I'm thinking that you are losing money of testing things for no reason. You can go straight away to sales and test while you are having sales, and also test if these products can actually sell in the real market and not in a test, okay, of $10 per day. And the next thing is that you're losing money and time, okay? It's the money that you will spend in tests while you can just run them and have sales in CBO campaigns that you're going to keep. And the other thing is that you're losing time in the sense of you're losing weeks and maybe the momentum of a product selling on this period of the year, or in this week or in the next week, just because you're testing with a small budget, and until you see or decide if you're going to move or not. So I don't do any testings on the other accounts. I do tests while I'm having sales. Next one. Hello dear, your content amazing, keep up, thank you. Can I request from you a video talking about targeting worldwide for e-commerce fashion store, and give us tips which best countries to target? Thank you. So I have a video, I believe that, let's pop it up here, how to advertise in different countries. There are very different things to talk about that. First of all, when you advertise to several countries, you need to group them together to different clusters. Is it going to be based on language? For example, a lot of times people group together Germany, Austria, Switzerland, okay, for the German language. Is it going to be for the time zone? For example, a lot of times people group together Australia and New Zealand. Is it going to be based on the size? A lot of times people put United States alone because it's a very big size and you cannot group it with other countries. So there are several rules to use. First of all, don't use worldwide as a targeting and try to use the countries that you want. A very similar rule that you could follow is that you do United States alone, because if you group it with any other country, United States is going to take the majority of the budget. There are exceptions to that. If you are spending 5 or 10 thousands per day to it and you have a lot of countries, yes, it's going to spend among all of them. But if you spend lower budgets, no. Then you have Canada, which sadly, because United States is very big, it has to go also alone. A lot of times people group together Canada and United States. Okay, fine. It's acceptable in terms of that they are in the same time zone, so the prime hours are going to be the same. What is the problem if you group together United States and Australia? First of all, United States is very big. Australia, it's smaller. And the prime zone is different. So the prime zone is after 5 o'clock up to 10, 11 o'clock, where people mostly buy. It's the time that the people go back to home from their work and stuff, and they have more intention to buy. That being said, having different prime hours, it's going to make the campaign for the campaign budget optimization more difficult to distribute the budget along the hours of the day and focus in specific hours that they are having better sales, like the way that it does it when we put time zones that they are the same and countries that they have the same time zones, so you won't have problem to have different times for different prime hours. Another thing is the reset of the ads. So if your ads are resetting, for example, at 12, they are resetting for all other accounts at 12 o'clock in the night. If you have different countries, they are resetting in some strange hours that you might need it to spend more money on that hours because it's a prime time zone. This has to do with the time zone that you set into your ad account. So be careful. And a lot of times in big companies, I do have different ad accounts with different time zones for the different countries that I want to have. Then you have United Kingdom, which can go alone easily. It's also not European Union, so for a lot of companies, for logistics, this is a very easy solution to them to have it separately. And then you have all the other countries in European Union and so on, which is a huge mess because they have a lot of different languages and stuff. So you can group them all together and see what you can do. Germany, Austria, Germany, Austria, Switzerland is a very good cluster for the German language. The Balkan area with Romania, Bulgaria, and all of these countries is very difficult because of the different languages. Anyway, Europe is a mess. It's very difficult. The best countries that I think that you should target is Australia and New Zealand. Don't expect anything crazy from Australia and New Zealand. They are very small countries. You see Australia as a huge continent, but it's very small. It's 20 million. New Zealand is 3 million potential. They are very small. Even Greece has bigger potential. It's from New Zealand, but they're good markets. Then you have Germany, Austria, Switzerland. It's a very good cluster over there that you can advertise using the German language or English. I would prefer if you use the German language there. United Kingdom alone can do pretty well, and then you have United States and Canada. You can group them together or run the different ads to them. Plus, we said several times in this channel that what else you can do is that you can do French ads with the French language in the Quebec area in Canada. They're super effective because it's an underserved market. That's all about that. Don't forget that if you put a lot of countries, then you need to also check where the spend goes. For example, a lot of times, why do we say, for example, that when you put worldwide is bad? Because, for example, India is taking all the budget, Egypt, Turkey, they take all the budget, Morocco. The problem is that these countries, they get a lot of, you get a lot of traffic from them, but people are not converting. And they have lower CPMs and so on. So it's consistently taking your budget, but you're not getting good sales. So there are good countries to target and bad countries to target. I think that this all sums up everything, and I think that you can find more in the video that I said that I made about that topic. Next one. Do you take into consideration the delay of reporting in the Ads Manager when optimizing a campaign because you don't have the data there on Facebook or because you don't know? Do you take into consideration the delay of reporting in the Ads Manager when optimizing a campaign because you don't have the data there on Facebook or because you don't know? Because you don't know. And because I don't have the data. So let me explain to you. Let me finish your question. I track my sales with UTMs and sometimes I get 90% tracking data. Perfect. So I have the data instantly, but Facebook takes ages to report back. Okay. I guess it is okay to spend more on the campaign that I know are bringing more results, even though Facebook still doesn't know it. What's your opinion on that? So, delayed reporting. Delayed reporting in United States is it can be up to 72 hours. It really depends on the product. So if you're selling a t-shirt which is selling for $25-30, which is in the comfort zone, or whatever item you're selling in the comfort zone, I wouldn't care so much about delayed reporting because I have volume of sales, okay, with my sales. But if I'm selling an expensive item and I'm seeing, for example, 4 checkouts, and I'm expecting one sale that's going to give me the ROAS that I want, and in the other case you're just having several sales already and you're just expecting some sales that they might give you 0.2 more ROAS or 0.2 less. Doesn't matter. So it really depends if you have to wait or not on the average order value that you're having on the ad account, and if it's an item that's not within the comfort zone. So you're not talking about volume, but you're talking more about one sale making a very huge difference because of the revenue that it's going to bring. That being said, over there in these other accounts, you have to be more flexible, okay? And in the other accounts, you can be more aggressive, but it's up to you and also based on the amount of money that you spend. If you're spending a lot of money, you also have to be flexible there. Now, do I scale something that I can see that is working from the UTMs? No. The reason is very simple. And this is why I don't use Triple Whale or Hyros or these kind of programs. The reason is that Facebook is going to optimize based on what it sees, and if it's getting 5 sales within the Ads Manager, these are the sales that it's going to use. So I'm not just going to optimize a campaign by just saying that, okay, it's having 5 sales there, but in reality it has 10 sales, because Facebook doesn't see that. Facebook doesn't see, it's not reported back so that Facebook can see that it got 10 sales. So that being said, I'm optimizing with what I see on Facebook, and even if that means that I'm getting lower ROAS on Facebook reported, like let's say I'm getting 1.8 and in reality it's 2.5, that's totally fine. I'm going to continue optimizing for 1.8 and I will continue getting 2.5, but I'm going to continue optimizing with what I see there and with a number that I see within Facebook, and not just gambling with something that Facebook doesn't see, because it's completely different for an ad set for Facebook to see 10 sales or 15 sales, and completely different of seeing 5 sales. It has less data to optimize. So if you scale it more, Facebook doesn't have all of this data to continue giving you sales, but you're just scaling it, you're pushing it, while it doesn't have enough data to actually be able to produce the results that you want. Next one. Hey, is there anyone you'd recommend listening or listening to regarding Google Ads? My friend Jonathan, I guess, but he's a little bit shy. I hope that I will convince him at some point to come. I wanted to make a series in my channel. Yes, I wanted to make another 4th video per week, which was going to be called Two Friends Talk About Facebook Ads. And we would have several topics because he's like me, he's having several clients, we're on the same level, he likes my ideas, I like his ideas, and we could discuss about several topics. Imagine, for example, me and him discussing about Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk having a fight. It would be much more fun. But he's very shy. I hope that he's watching that and he's going to reconsider. But I doubt it, because the more the years pass by, he's becoming even more older. While he's 29, he's behaving like he's 45 or 50 years old. So I don't know. Maybe in the new studio in about 1 or 2 years from now that I'm making. Yeah, I'm making a new studio. When we are going to go there, maybe I'm going to convince him to becoming once per month. No, No, come on, once per week. He should come once per week, okay? And maybe there we will have more content about Google Ads. Because I don't do Google Ads, I'm not watching people. It's super boring for me to watch any videos about Google Ads, so I don't know. But whoever is working with me on Facebook ads and stuff, and they want also Google Ads, I send them to Jonathan, and we have some very good results there also. Next one. Hi Konstantinos, great content, thank you. A quick question. Have you tested maximize conversion value via the standard maximize number of conversions at ad set level? Any insights? He's referring to the cost caps over there in the area. You can put, instead of maximize conversions, you can put value. I have videos inside this channel which are all about how to do ads with the cost cap and the value. Back in the day, in order to use that, you had to go back in the day, some months ago, before aggregated events are gone. In order to use that, you had to go and you had to create one how it's called, you had to go to the aggregate events and toggle on the button for value optimization. Now you don't need that. Basically, you're optimizing and you're saying, okay, as long as you're giving me 2 ROAS, for example, keep spending. It works like the cost cap. I have videos with manual bidding that I'm showing you this channel. This one, I will put some here just to see. And you can check there. I'm using it there, but it's not working anymore. It just doesn't spend, you know. It used to work more. I think it's because of the loss of data that we have right now because of iOS that it doesn't work so well. Next one. For what I see, a lot of people don't use both. What is this? So this is a video about informing people about Pixel Gone. So he says, I don't see a lot of people. I see a lot of people don't use both. He means API and Pixel, mainly because they think they don't need them, but also because, like you said, depending on the platform, your site is on the conversion API. Can be very buggy, and thus the need for a dev who knows what he's doing. Otherwise, you get one set of data from the Pixel, other from the API, and can look to a fortune teller to know which data is correct. So basically, the truth is that the API is gone. This is what everybody is announcing in Meta, and the problem with that is that there are a lot of now we also have data sets. So Facebook is not very clear. Just one day they just announced dataset. They didn't even say anything about it. I'm pretty sure they did it, maybe in a forum, but not in a way of, you know, informing us. Back in the days, you need to have Pixel and API after the iOS 14.5 changes so that they can work together as a synergy, and you had better reporting. Browser to server reporting and server to server reporting, so it was better, and you had added application events in order for you not to have double events. Now they say that the Pixel is going to be removed. They're going to be only API. Now we have datasets. If you go to your business settings under your Pixels, you're not going to be able to see it, but you're going to be able to see only datasets. So the transition has already happened, and we're transitioning into a world that we have only API. Also, if you go now to your events manager, you will see that before it says a browser server in the reporting, now it says multiple attribution, and I don't know, guys. Still, it's something that we are watching with Facebook, and it's going to take some time until we reach to the point that we know exactly what's happening. But they said that by the end of the year, they will have all the changes about API and Pixel. Let's go now to my good friend over here. We have some back and forth with questions. So he's asking, hi Konstantinos, long time no see. So I'm currently experiencing a pretty weird situation with one of the products I'm testing. I'm testing a heating pad in Lithuanian market that helps women reduce menstrual pain. However, in my ad copy as well as video, I haven't mentioned anything about that. Basically, I'm just using general language like help to relieve spasms, belly cramps, etc. So I'm noticing Facebook is showing the ads mostly to people over 65 years old. What would you expect? If you write the word relief, it's going to have that. Could it be that Facebook does not understand who the target audience is, which is mostly younger women who experience menstrual pain? Instead, Facebook is showing ads to people who are more likely to suffer from pain in general, which is older people. At least that's my theory. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's correct, but I'm answering here. Hi, bro. Wondering when you did. I'm saying here. Hi, bro. Wondering when you will decide to subscribe eventually. Obviously, I'm teasing him because it doesn't look like he's subscribed, but I know that he's a subscriber. Then he says, Facebook is doing that based on the engagement. Don't forget the main theory. Each ad starts with engagement. The more people engage to it, it spends more, and then based on conversions when it is getting them. The audience that engages or converts creates hot pockets. Facebook is just serving to the audience that engage by spending more money. So in your case, the audience that engage more is 65 plus, and Facebook just takes the signals and signal that they engage more and spends more money to it. So this is my answer. Then he says, this is so weird. Even ages 65 plus have the best CPCs, but women at the age don't even have menstrual periods. Yes, but their children have. Okay, so a mother who has her daughter, for example, given labor or whatever, she might be interested in that. I haven't spent a lot yet. Would you suggest spending more on Facebook to optimize or just changing? In that case, I would strongly suggest you to run with interests so that you can be able to get out of that. Changing the target age range, of course, you have to change it if you see that it's not getting you there. To spend all the budget on younger people. I'm subscribed and have turned the notifications on. And I said, what if they showed interest for their children? I had products for moms, for instance, for children on the age. It's like the example that I give with my niece, for example, okay? For children on the age of 5, 10, and grandmothers were also significant audience. This is coming from my experience with a client that they had clothing and they said, okay, we just want to target moms. And then you were running ads and you are seeing that they are wrong. There were a lot of sales in the age of 55, 65 plus, because these are grandparents that they want to buy things to their grandchildren. And I say, then try to narrow down the ages also, but not yet. Do it after some spend and if you have zero sales in the way that Facebook targets, because I want to see if older people are going to be able to buy this product for their children. It also worth a try. Another theory is that the Pixel is super new and just doesn't know how to target, so avoid broad and stick to interest first, or try to guide it properly with narrow of ages, the same things that I said. The certain here is that you need to give it time before you take serious decisions. I say PS shows you're not a sub, but I do believe you. I'm still teasing him. Then it says, Dan, so you're saying Facebook can even recognize people who could buy a certain product as a gift, not themselves. I've never thought of that. It's not about recognizing, it's about, okay, you put the age of 65 plus, so it's just serving there and it's getting engagement. If it's getting engagement, it's going to spend more there because it thinks that people are going to convert. It doesn't mean that it recognizes that this old woman's daughter has given birth, so let's target her with that. No, it doesn't recognize. It recognizes that you're targeting this age with this creative, and people are actually engaging with that. They are watching the video. I thought they were confusing it with these regular heating pads for pain relief. Maybe that's also the case. By the way, how would you suggest testing in a small country? The total reach in Lithuania is 2 million, so maybe start with wide open targeting at around 100 per day. Whenever I stack interests, the audience size is always less than 1 million. Yeah, in your case, I think that you should go with broad targeting, focus on the creatives. If, for example, you see that there is a miscommunication into your creative about what you're selling, try to make a better creative which is going to explain it better. I'm subscribed, bro. I can send you screenshots. Haha. You provide a lot of value, so I definitely supporting you. Then I tell him, I know you are, I was joking. When other people buy something for them or for a gift, it's still a purchase. About smaller counters, don't do interest, just do broad and crazy method. Try to see if you can lower the ages in order to narrow it down a little bit more, but still in 2 million I would still go super broad and try to get sales with my creatives instead of trying to get sales with my targeting. Still, though, research if they are confused by your copy, messaging, or the video. I'm very happy that I'm answering the same things that I'm thinking right now, which means that I'm consistent. Next, Konstantinos got it. So a simple concept of a crazy method, desired total daily spend, desired CPA equals total number of ad sets. For example, 200 for 10 desired CPC, 20 ad sets at 200 per day CBO. And from that point, you continue to optimize the campaign. What minimum budget would you recommend for this method? I want to test 20 different products, so for me personally, 50 a day as a starting point would be ideal, considering the fact that $2 million is pretty small. And then I tell him, well, start with 210 assets. Why? Because you can even do 205 assets. It's what you are trying to spend per asset. You don't have to, just because you have $10 cost per purchase, for example. And by the way, I disagree with desired. It's completely different what you desire from what you are getting. If you are getting sales at $10, yes, then you can do 200 with 20 assets. I wouldn't do that. I like to consolidate a little bit more my crazy method comparing to the past. So instead of having 20, I would have 10, aiming 20, so 2 sales per day in an ad set, or you can do 5, aiming for 3. I would do 8 to 10 with this situation over here. I say, well, start with 210 assets, see average cost per purchase and how fast it spends, or not spends, and then find your ideal combo. 50 per day is fine considering you are testing one product each time. Okay, is there a maximum amount of adsets you would recommend at a $50 budget? 5 cost per purchase would be 10 adsets, but that seems like quite a lot. I tell him to do 4 to 5 just to start testing. He thanks me, and that's it. Let's go to the next question. How can we know if we have a strong pixel? Is there a spend amount to define this? When do you know that you have a strong pixel? When you are starting running ads, you are not having the results that you want or the consistency. You are having this effect that we said about 24, 48 hours, getting sales, and then not having more sales and so on. When you are having that, and then after some point you are seeing it being more stable, okay? You are seeing that I'm having sales every day. It's not a campaign that starts and dies. I started testing, so you're doing interest, then you start testing lookalikes, they're working. After that, you start testing broad targeting, it's working. So you know that your pixel is strong. There's no such thing as watching, okay, 500 sales, your pixel is trained. No, it really matters what kind of niche you are advertising to. So if you're advertising in a very broad niche, you need more sales. If the niche is very small, you need actually less sales. So in that case, I do believe that it's a game of observation instead of a game of numbers. Observe if you have consistent results, if you can do broad targeting consistently and you're having good results all the time. This is when you know that you have a good, strong pixel. Next one. Someone hacked my Facebook account with a fake website. Can you help me? Now, why I'm putting this here? Stop asking me to help you if you have problems with another account and stuff. I cannot even help myself sometimes when things are happening. If you have a problem with Facebook, you need to find a way to communicate with Facebook. Create another account, for example, and communicate with them. Nobody can help you, and please don't lose money to scammers that they will take you money just to fix that. Next one. I started learning lead generation Facebook ads for a roofing company. The owner wanted to target about 30 zip codes, so I typed in the 30 zip codes, 30 drop pins. It's been about 2 days and no leads came. Is that an issue? First of all, because the owner told you to target 30 zip codes, why does it mean that this is correct? Okay. Is doing 30 pins can make Facebook algorithm cannot choose where to target. Audience size is about 500k. Ad spend is 40 per day. Very new business, manager and ad account. CPM is 30. I'm running 9 ads in dynamic creative, splitting them into 3 ad sets with CBO using meta lead form. Your setup doesn't look bad, but I don't think that the pins is also a problem. Now, if you want to define what is good and what is bad, I think that you need to start testing them one by one or grouping them, if you can group them in a way. Because over here, by having 30 pins is like having 30 countries. You don't know which one is working and not, so maybe you need to make smaller classes. Why don't you start with 5 pins at a time, test them. If something is working over there, you can continue expanding it, or you can test other 5 pins, but I think that 30 is too many, especially for a new ad account. Maybe it doesn't get results there, or maybe your offer is bad, your creatives are bad, your everything is bad and it's not going to convert no matter what. But just try to test less pins in order to see if it's going to work like this. Next one, great info. Have you had any luck scaling Advanced Plus campaign horizontally? All the time. So when you have Advanced Plus campaigns and you see that one ad over there is dominant and is having very good sales, what you can do is you can just see, am I having a second ad and third ad and fourth ad behind that which is having profitable ROAS and spending? If yes, you can easily take it from 500 to 700 and then take it to 800, 900. See how it behaves for 3, 4, 5 days, then scale it more. If, as long as your main ad, your leading ad in the Advanced Plus campaign, it's working well and it's taking all the spend and everything with good profitable ROAS, you're going to be fine. Yes, I have done several times and I can tell you it's working flawlessly. The only way that you could do this, the same thing in a CBO, is when you go and you see, when you have 10 ad sets, 8 of them having sales and they take budget and stuff, and then you say, okay, out of the 10 ad sets inside the CBO, 8 of those are spending in a profitable ROAS, I can scale horizontally. If you don't have that, then don't scale a CBO. But in Advanced Plus it's much more easy because you have one dominant ad, which if it can take more, if you spend more and it's going to accept it, it's totally fine. Next one, and no, I haven't used the 20% rule over here. I have scaled even more aggressively than that. Next one, it's a series of questions and answers. I don't even have Advanced Plus for my new ad accounts. The feature is completely missing. I only have Advanced Plus for my seasonal accounts. I heard you need to have certain ad spend to be able to unlock Advanced Plus. No, it's not about ad spend. It's coming live to all the ad accounts by the end of the year. The reason that I'm putting this here is because I have to admit that at that point that I answered to him, it's been several days ago, if not 20 or 30 days, I didn't know about that. So I took a new account and it didn't have Advanced Plus, and I started spending money to it, and then it got the Advanced Plus. And someone else also told me that. So in some cases, maybe you have to spend a little bit, but for sure we know that by the end of the year, every ad account is going to have Advanced Plus if they don't. That's what even Facebook customer support is saying. So you are saying they're wrong. First of all, because it's customer support doesn't mean that they are right. I answer here. It is the first time hearing someone relate Advanced Plus as a spend and lock feature. Yeah, it is. Especially due to the fact that in new created ad accounts it's usually there for me. That's true also. I have created several new ad accounts and I have been to several ones. They always had Advanced Plus. It's just this one case that I didn't have it and it came. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, maybe it got unblocked by spending, maybe it got unblocked because it got unblocked like all the ad accounts that are getting it by the end of the year. Who knows? All I know is that Meta announced that it will be on all accounts by the end of the year. And yeah, a lot of, to me it sounded a little bit cheap from the customer support to say, nah, I just need you to spend more money and it's going to appear. But maybe this is the truth, who knows. Anyway, just putting it here if someone has the issue. Next one, hi Konstantinos, I've recently launched, then we go for another round of questions. Hi Konstantinos, I've recently launched a few CBOs for one of my products, total budget of around 500. Day 1 and 2 was very good, always they are very good. Day 3 was a bit worse, and day 4 was very bad. I've even noticed more negative reactions and comments on my ad post comparing to the previous days. When this happens, does this mean somebody is using manual bid and outbidding me? No, it doesn't mean that necessarily. it means that your pixel is not strong enough to continue having good results, or you had some bad initial sales. Or it's just that my pixel is new and not very stable. In other words, should I worry about such fluctuation in results, or just keep spending until they stabilize? You keep spending, but if they are doing very bad, you need to start relaunching ads also. Next one. So to conclude, even if you are seeing good results from specific placement, we should still use auto placements all the time. Yes, because automatic placements, even if we don't like it or not, they are having better results. Even with new pixels and small budgets, we're testing like 50 per day. Sadly, yes, I have seen better results overall. Latinos, got it. May I know what type of ads work best for you and your clients, emails, carousel, or videos just in general? Now, I find this a very, sorry to say that, a very stupid question. Why? I hear this all the time. I don't know why is this a new thing. Are there several videos right now on YouTube that they say that you should run this type of ads and everything? Every type of ad can work and every type of ad cannot work. So it's about the company, it's about the content that you have. Okay, we all hear about UGC and stuff, but I have seen UGC failing miserably. It's also the execution that really matters. So there is no such thing as, hey, tell me what kind of ads your clients are running so that we can do the same kind of crazy. It doesn't work like this, guys. Every business is completely different. Got it. And when you said you don't do manual placements, do you have the same approach with age and gender? For example, if a certain age performs the best, you still keep it broad or narrow it down. No, in that case, I will do broad targeting with specific ages and genders that work and will spice it up with crazy method. On lookalikes though, I won't touch the ages, just gender specific ads if the difference is 8% or more, and I will do this only on stacked lookalikes. As you can understand, I do it only when I can still go deeper to what works but keep it also with the potential reach as much as I can. So what I'm saying here is that yes, if you have ages and gender that they're going to be in your core audience, but you know it provenly with breaking down the results that this is the case, what you can do is that you can do broad targeting, you can do crazy method, and you can put this kind of age. So constrain a little bit the potential reach by just putting the ages and the gender that you want. Now, in stacked lookalikes, I have seen products, for example, which is only dresses, for example, okay? In stacked lookalikes, I would use only women, for example. A lot of times when I do lookalikes, I don't like to touch the ages or the gender, I just like to keep it open because I know that from the pixel and all the sales that this company has, it's going to target still only women, or like 80 or 90% of the audience is going to be women. So if I have a strong pixel and stuff and I do stack lookalikes which has a big potential reach, I might go and I might put only women there or only men depending on the case. On the other hand, if I just do a single lookalike, I wouldn't touch it. I would keep open the targeting of the age and the gender no matter what. Next, because after analyzing the best and worst performing days of my ads, I've noticed that when ads were performing the best, Facebook was spending most of the budget on older people. However, during days when they didn't perform that well, that specific age group received only 20% of the total spend. So I can't seem to understand why Facebook stopped spending on the demographic age group it performed the best. Because it's Facebook. As we said, we do trust the algorithm, but we are there to intervene if mistakes are being made. Okay, there can be many reasons for that. You can combat it with crazy method broad targeting with specific demographics. You need to have a variety of campaigns. You are safer like this. You cannot just expect from Facebook to be a safe platform for you. So you have to find ways like the crazy method or other things like having a structure with a lot of campaigns in order for you to be safer for this kind of fluctuations. Next one. Hey Konstantinos, I just came across your channel recently, thank you. And I got to say you are dishing out some seriously quality stuff, thank you, super informative, and you come across as a really down to earth. That's the best compliment. I really like, I don't really like flexing and all of this hustle and all of these Lambos and all this kind of stuff. Guys, I'm 36, I'm not young like 25 so that I can have insecurities about the money that I make and all of that. I'm totally fine with my life. I find joy in what I do, and I don't have to flex. And I believe that down to earth, I hope that I'm down to earth, okay? Because everybody, when they make money, they cannot just become the same person. That's true, that you have some impact into your character. I hope that I'm staying humble, but let me tell you that for me, there is another audience of people that they will work with me, that they like that. But there are other people that they are not just not going to work with me because they don't like that, and they want to work with someone who is not humble and who is flexing, because this is proving that they are successful or not. So it's how you see it. For me, whoever is flexing, it has a mental problem of actually having an insecurity of proving that he's successful. If you don't have this problem, you don't have to flex. You just have to show your ad accounts and what you're doing there. I don't believe that, and we're marketeers, okay? If you market yourself like a billionaire or a millionaire or whatever that may be, you just enter all the time in a situation that you're trying to preserve that, and you're trying to buy the next Lambo and the next thing. It's just a game that you have to play all the time and it never ends. So you never find peace. On the other hand, you can just do a lavish life or have a nice time, not showing anything, just show results on Facebook ads and stuff. And you don't have to convince people to work with you just because you are driving a Lambo or whatever. Next one. He says, quick question. I've got these Advantage Plus campaigns that have been humming along nicely with good results. Perfect. I'm thinking of upping the budget. People out there are throwing around numbers like 20 to 50%. 20 to 50 doesn't exist, 20% is the correct. The whole idea comes from the fact that we have 20% so that we won't get out of the, so that we won't get back to the learning phase. Because after you get 50 events on the last 7 days, if you have this attribution setting within your ad set, then what is happening is that you get out of learning phase. Does it make any sense? I haven't seen differences with ads that they go out of the learning phase and they are still on the learning phase, okay? I have even seen learning limited ads being profitable. So this is the reason that they say 20% to not ruin the campaign. Another thing that I want to point out here is this. It's very easy for people to just throw numbers just so that they can show that they are experts. The biggest example that I have, and please, if you watch it, I don't want to start a beef with you. I just don't, but I find it a little bit stupid, sorry. The 3-2-2 strategy, there's this guy, I don't remember his name, is Professor something, that he has 3 creatives, 2 copies, 2 headlines. Why is it different if you do 3-3-3, 3-4-4, 3-4-8, 3-4-5? You cannot do 8. I just don't understand it, and I just believe that we're coming here and we're just throwing. Let's do the method 63-35 because it looks nice, and when you're throwing numbers, it looks super professional, that you calculate it, that I just don't find it useful, And then you have 20% is something that's coming from Facebook anyway. What's your take on this? Or should I take a different route and duplicating the campaign, then give the new one an increased budget? You can do both. As I said with Advantage Plus, I think that these are campaigns that you can scale horizontally. You can easily do it. I have done it several times. And because I just mentioned the other guy earlier, you have to understand that all of us, we are experts based on the experiences that we had. For example, if I have worked with a lot of companies in e-commerce, I'm just sharing the experiences that I have with that, with the budgets that I played, with the niches that I had and stuff. It doesn't mean that our ideas are the correct ones for every single business. This is why you need to watch several YouTube channels and several people for their ideas and see if it's working. Maybe the 3-2-2 is working very well for fishing companies. Who knows? Okay, but I'm just saying that all of these things that you're watching is something that you should implement. You should go to the next person, implement this, implement that, and use whatever is working for your business. It doesn't mean that because I'm showing you results from this thing working, that it's going to work necessarily in your business. So yes, you can scale it horizontally. You can even go even more aggressive. If you have a lot of ads inside that they have converted and they take budget, you can do it. You can check after 3, 4, 5 days to see what kind of results you are getting with this scaled ad. And if your scaled ad is supporting it, then you can scale more and more. If you have a lot of content and a lot of creatives, I would do another Advanced Plus with those instead of just using it for a scaling way, because you can do only 8 Advanced Plus in one account. So yeah, you can do it. You can go for it. Let's go to next one. I just don't know if we will ever finish. Let's go to next one. I will have several. Yeah, I don't think I think we will do 3 hours today here. Easily. Yep. Yeah. Okay, this was it. No, we have done nothing yet. So, since the podcast is taking too long, I decided to make this podcast with 2 parts, part A and part B. This is the end of part A, and I will see you on part B. This was the Facebook Ads Breaking News Podcast. Like it or not, it is what it is.